Stepping into the dimly lit shed, the diligent farm girl Saufin carefully uncovers the heavy shredder. Preparing for the grueling morning routine of processing raw stalks into fine feed, she grips the starting crank with both hands, pouring her physical strength into the stubborn machinery, until the engine finally roars to life. This moment is not merely a mundane daily chore, but rather the essential foundational step for building her self-sustaining agricultural empire from the ground up, demonstrating her unwavering commitment to excellence, feeding the roaring machine. She often precisely inserts long banana stalks into the circular inlet, watching them get devoured by the spinning blades to produce a massive output. Yet she deliberately collects the coarse remnants and feeds them back into the secondary inlet for an intensive second round of crushing. Such a meticulous recycling process is not just about saving materials, but rather about guaranteeing the ultimate fineness required for premium livestock feed. Mixing the golden powder, the machine finally rests as Saufin brings over a bucket of yellow grain powder, scattering it evenly over the freshly shredded green pulp. She plunges her gloved hands into the massive pile, relentlessly kneading the mixture, until the two distinct ingredients fully integrate into a uniform blend. This perfect nutritional balance is not achieved by modern automated mixers, but rather forged entirely through her sheer manual labor and relentless dedication, feeding the hungry flock. With swift and practiced motions, Saufin scoops the thoroughly blended feed into sturdy green plastic buckets. She tightly seals the surplus in a red sack, then carries both loads with ease out of the shed. Upon reaching the small red-roofed coop, she is instantly greeted by a clamoring multitude of ducks and geese, rushing toward her in eager anticipation. As she pours the rich nourishment in the feeding trays, the white and brown birds eagerly bury their heads in the feast. This lively and chaotic scene marks the harmonious reward for her relentless morning agricultural labor. As the flock enjoys its feast, Isa often shifts focus to heavy construction. She parks her wheelbarrow beside a large sand pile, transitioning from farming to infrastructure preparation. With a long-handled shovel, she tosses raw sand onto a wooden inclined screen in rhythmic, forceful motions. The steady grinding noise signals the start of her ambitious backyard building project. Fine sand piles up in the wheelbarrow. Saufin pauses, adjusting her breath and tilting her hat with a gloved hand, appearing composed and capable. She pushes the cart to the center of the circular foundation, skillfully dumping the sand exactly on target before returning. Then she heaves a heavy bag of cement onto the pile. Using her shovel, she turns the mixture from the edges inward, blending the dry materials thoroughly. A quick montage follows. Orderly brick stacks, a distinct cashew-shaped concrete pit, and a perfectly smooth square cement slab, showcasing the solid groundwork laid for what comes next. Shelf and vaults over the edge, descending gracefully into the empty pool. Landing inside, she carefully organizes her masonry materials to begin the critical framing of the support pillars. She places a heavy concrete brick onto the fresh mortar, tapping it gently with a trowel handle to ensure perfect vertical alignment. This precise adjustment guarantees foundational stability. Next, a thick layer of cement ash is meticulously spread on top, This step perfectly prepares the nascent pillar for its continuous upward elevation, perfecting the brick's structure. Holding her breath, Xiaofan stands a brick vertically against the pillar, attempting to construct a complex three-dimensional interlocking bond for maximum strength. However, she scrutinizes the alignment and uses the trowel back to make micro-adjustments, ensuring the column remains impeccably straight under her critical gaze. Another heavy block is pressed down and struck repeatedly, sinking precisely to the predetermined height to maintain the structural integrity, moving to the narrow end. Overlooking the gourd-shaped pool, she often carries her green bucket to the narrower section to begin constructing the second crucial support column. She carefully positions the first heavy brick, aligning its edge parallel to the pool wall, to achieve both aesthetic and structural symmetry. Blowing away the floating dust, she stacks the subsequent bricks with unwavering determination, as dappled tree shadows shift across her focused back, sealing the water pipelines. The newly installed pipes are neatly arranged on the brick wall, requiring meticulous waterproofing to prevent any catastrophic future leaks. Wearing white anti-slip gloves, Xiaofan pushes wet cement mortar deep into the gaps between the blue ball valve pipes and the rough pool. She uses a small towel to smooth the sealant, ensuring a completely seamless and watertight integration that guarantees long-term durability. Shifting her angle, she compacts the mortar beneath the pipe, ensuring every hidden structural vulnerability is thoroughly filled and reinforced. She pinches mortar to patch microscopic holes, and then smooths the surface into a flawless glossy finish. Satisfied with the interior seal, Xiaofan climbs from the dry, heart-shaped pool to address the exterior connections with equal rigor, fortifying the exterior joints. Crouching on the muddy ground outside the pool, Xiaofan prepares to treat the exposed gray drainage pipe with the same rigorous standards. She scoops mortar and builds a solid cement mound at the junction of the pipe and the brick wall, securing the critical transition zone. But her trowel dances flexibly, filling uneven stone gaps and pressing the cement firmly against the pipe wall to forge an unbreakable chemical bond, finalizing the professional finish. After clearing excess ash from the pipe wall, she travels a neat sealing slope at the pipe route, demonstrating highly professional craftsmanship. Standing up, she collects the remaining materials into the wheelbarrow, preparing to leave the worksite as the plumbing phase reaches its conclusion. She mounts the cart frame and steadily pushes the loaded vehicle toward the outer perimeter, leaving behind a perfectly sealed and functional system. Purifying the tools in the stream, Xiaofan splashes a bucket of clear stream water over the dried cement on the wheelbarrow, using a shovel to scrape off the stubborn residue. She repeats the splashing and scrubbing motions relentlessly, until the heavy metal bucket finally regains its original and unblemished metallic shine. The shovel is also submerged and rubbed in the flowing water, ensuring every single tool is completely purified for future use. Gathering the construction debris, pushing the cart across the empty grass, Xiaofan heads toward a designated waste accumulation point, filled with discarded cement bags and packaging. She stops to inspect the chaotic pile, scanning the surrounding area meticulously to ensure absolutely no trash is left behind in the dirt. Her rigorous demeanor reflects a deep respect for the land, treating the final site cleanup as seriously as the heavy construction itself. Igniting the waste pile, Shelfin quickly gathers the messy cement bags into a compact pile, pulling out a pink portable blowtorch to initiate the controlled incineration. Pressing the trigger, a blue flame instantly shoots out, igniting the dry paper bags at the bottom and sending thick black smoke upward. She carefully traces the flame along the edges, ensuring the fire spreads evenly to completely engulf and destroy all the non-recyclable plastic wrappers. Within the heap, monitoring the blazing fire, crouching beside the roaring bonfire, Xiaofin uses the blowtorch to reinforce any underburned areas until the center glows a bright and intense red. She stands up to adjust the pile's position, maintaining strict control over the combustion process as the thick smoke finally begins to clear. Pushing the empty wheelbarrow past the flames, she picks up one last stray cement bag and tosses it into the consuming inferno, completing her daily work with quiet satisfaction, forcing the final combustion. Fetching a long wooden poker, Xiaofin returns to the fire to aggressively turn the burning paper bags, making the flames dance wildly. She changes her position constantly, pushing the edge debris into the fiery core with rigorous focus to guarantee a complete thermal breakdown. The fire burns ever fiercer as she forcefully swings the poker, compacting the bags to ensure the intense heat wraps around every single piece. Concluding the daily ritual. Pausing briefly to observe the fire, Xiaofin gives the pile one last stir, confirming that all paper bags have been reduced to fine ash. She takes the poker and strides across the grass, carrying the tools away from the fire zone to officially end the exhaustive cleanup. The flames flicker in the breeze as she walks through the garden, finally pushing open the door of the red wooden cabin to rest.